I'm doing good.
Wait, actually, we have hers. I have to be here.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. When you come in, please make sure that you scooch all the way in. Leave those aisles open so that people can squeeze in.
I have mine as well. I'm gonna go find Samuel, okay?
Okay.
I'm
He
gonna
went to the bathroom.
run.
Okay. I forgot to put on my blazer.
I'm a freshman myself. I go to George Washington. Well, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it does not take a long time to get to Spanish. When you're right there, like down the street.
Hi, everybody. If everyone could move in and not leave any empty seats, that would be awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Surprisingly, for a high school,
47 years strong, so. Yeah, but if I turn on it, the button. Yeah. How do I turn it on, though? Oh, okay. Got it. Again, I just want to remind you, if you could all come inside and not leave any empty seats, that would be incredible. Continue talking.
don't even have to. It's brand new, 100% USDA. Free range gathering. I have one that's also my dad's birthday this weekend, so kind of all the stars on my license. I wasn't gonna go here just for this. Maybe. Yeah. No. I would. Awesome. The traffic is very There should be Brandon, like, okay, I'll sit here. Does he have a high horse or low horse?
Okay, wait, so is Isha coming?
Yeah, you're just coming over here.
Hello? Hello? Hello, Mikey. Not yet. Keep talking. Yeah. 1 more minute, so you can keep talking. All right. Start now. All right. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the 47th Annual Santa Clara Valley Model United Nations Conference. My name is Ankita Bhatt, and it is truly an honor to be able to introduce myself as this year's Secretary General. I attended my first SCVMUN my freshman year. I stood in the back of this very theater during opening ceremonies almost 4 years to the day, perplexed by the research I had spent hours reading and naive about the conversations that would soon present themselves to me over the weekend. Up until that point, I had viewed these topics that would be discussed in conference as things that were so obvious. I was confused about the purpose of countries coming together to debate about ideas that were so easy to agree upon. I mean, every human deserves to be treated with dignity. Every person needs to be provided with basic services to survive, and the earth should not have to pay a heavy price for that, right? I soon learned after hours of debate, disagreement, and resolution that it wasn't that straightforward. Not everything has one definition. Not every culture viewed solutions in the same way. And even if all parties involved had good intentions, rifts could still occur. Progress was not as simple as I thought it was, and as I added conferences to my belt, I learned that. In all the ways the world has progressed, it has remained stagnant as well. For every technological breakthrough, there are children who have yet to earn a proper education. For every biomedical innovation, there are still those yet to gain access to clean water. And for every good legislation passed, there are regions of the world that will never get the option to implement it. These are the issues that we grapple with in our present day. Circumstantially dissimilar from what our ancestors had to face, but problems nonetheless. As the UN has sculpted and grown to change as we have through the generations, there are still issues that haven't been discussed or solved in certain regions of the world at the same rate as they have in others. There are still rifts so deep that the global community has yet to decide where they fall on the matter. In the 4 years that I have been in MUN, I have been able to experience so many historical moments and movements, both as a spectator and a participant. Being in MUN, I have learned that the importance of being able to see either perspective and find the resolve that allows benefits for all parties involved. It may be difficult at times, but provides the greatest outcomes. As I conclude my opening statement, I want to leave you with a couple words of advice. Over this next weekend, I urge that you are active, that despite this being your first conference or your last, that you get involved in the conversations before you. Whether you're representing one of the big five or a small island nation, your position is important in cultivating the most comprehensive resolutions by the end of the conference. Ask questions. It will allow you to answer the problems that you didn't think you had. Know the countries you're working with by their name. These friendships are ones that you tend to cultivate and foster across districts and state lines. You may never know. The delegate sitting next to you might be from a rival school or from St. Andrew's Priory from Hawaii. Finally, as we kick off this conference, I have one final request. Don't make winning your mission. At the end of the day, an award is only going to give you a temporary sense of fulfillment. I hope as you embark on this conference, you strive to learn as much as you can about the topics before you. These topics are important. You discussing them and learning how to use your voice will not only aid you in committee, but assist the world around you. With my rambling being said and done, I would now like to introduce you to our guest speaker for tonight, Ms. Kate Schatz. Kate Schatz is the New York Times bestselling author of the Rad Women book series. She is a writer, educator, activist, and public speaker who has addressed audiences all over the country, from tech giants like Google and Pixar, to literary festivals, to public elementary schools and universities. Her work has been published in Lenny, BuzzFeed, Signature, Brightly, Oxford American, East Bay Express, Denver Quarterly, and Joyland, among others. She is the former chair of the School of Literary Arts of the Oakland School of the Arts, where she taught fiction, poetry, and journalism to 9th to 12th graders for many years. She received her Master in Fine Arts in Fiction from Brown University and a double bachelor's in Women's Studies and Creative Writing from UC Santa Cruz. She's the co-founder of Solidarity Sundays, a nationwide network of feminist activist groups. Kate was born and raised in San Jose, and she lives with her family in the island of Alameda. Please help me welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Kate Schatz.
Thank you, Ankita. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for clapping so nicely. Thank you for having me here. Thank you to, where's Phipps? Is he out there somewhere running around? Okay. Hi, Phipps. All right. Mr. Phipps, I've known him for a really long time. We realized tonight that we've known each other for like 25 years. which makes me feel very old. All right, I'm just going to put on my little timer here so I know how long I'm talking to you. Probably be up here for just like an hour or two. Just kidding. I just tweeted about you guys. You don't follow me on Twitter, I'm sure, but I just to tell you how I feel about being here. I said, I'm about to give a speech to like 900 high school students at a Model UN conference in San Jose, and I'm pretty sure that 98% of them are wildly smarter than me. And then I did the little like white lady emoji, like, and I think the 2% of you that are not smarter than me, it's probably because you're in 9th grade and you're just getting started and it's your first time. So you'll catch up by next year. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, right? I feel like, you know, you have to tease the freshmen. No, seriously, in all sincerity, I've been here for like an hour and I'm already so impressed. I feel super jealous that we did not have Model UN at my high school. I guarantee you I would have been like 100% so into it if we had had it. And I think it's spectacular that you guys are doing this. Yeah, if I know you guys are very smart, so if anybody's invented a time traveling, can send me back to high school just so I can do Model UN without doing any of the other stuff from high school. I would be really into that. So again, my name is Kate. I'm an author, I'm an educator, I'm an activist. I write what have come to be known as the Rad Women books. I brought them to hold up as props. These are books, I call them children's books for people of all ages, because though they're aimed at young readers, they're really for everybody. My job is to literally research stories about amazing women from history and then write about them. So I've written a book called Rad American Women A to Z, a book called Rad Women Worldwide, and I have a new book coming out in the summer called Rad Girls Can. I do this because I am passionate about feminist history and politics. I'm passionate about telling stories and sharing little known histories, and I love inspiring readers of all genders with examples of powerful, inspiring women that they might look up to. This is how I get to spend my time doing this work. The rest of the time, I'm parenting my little children and also organizing activists across the country to get engaged and active in local and national politics. So I'm busy, but I get to do what I love. So Rad American Women A to Z tells the story of 26 women from American history with a focus on women of color and those whose stories are not told as often. A is for the activist Angela Davis, B is for the groundbreaking tennis player Billie Jean King, and it goes all the way to Z for the author and anthropologist Zora Neale Hurston. Rad Women Worldwide tells 40 stories from 31 countries, and the new book, Rad Girls Can, comes out in July, and it tells 50 stories about young women who did great things before age 20. So people often ask what the women in my books have in common. They span centuries and continents. They represent different races, different languages and abilities. I write about women like Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz and Malala Yousafzai, who insisted on education even though it was forbidden. Women like Emma Goldman, who defied the law in pursuit of justice. Scientists like Maria Montessori and the ENIAC programmers, who often worked alone in secret just to get ahead. I write about athletes like the Williams sisters and mountain climber Junko Tabay, who never let stereotypes about women's physical abilities stop them. I write about political leaders like Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, the Nigerian feminist who was the only woman on the delegation that negotiated independence from Britain. I write about people like Faith Bandler, an Australian who led the movement to officially declare Aboriginals people in the Australian Constitution. And that happened in the 1970s. So again, the women I write about are all over the place, literally, but here's what they have in common, and what I think they have in common with all of you. Everyone I write about had a passion, something she really, really believed in. On her path to make it happen, they were all met with adversity and struggle, often from society, government forces, sometimes from family, social pressure. Sometimes the obstacle came from themselves, from within. It was self-doubt or a lack of confidence that they had to overcome. But each woman that I write about persevered, each took risks, spoke her mind, and each made a significant impact in her culture, her country, and world. So we may not have all achieved the part where we make the huge impact in the world, but I feel pretty sure that you are a group of people who have something that they believe in. The other thing about the women I write about, and this is maybe what we really have in common with them, is that none of them were normal. They all rejected the status quo and did their own thing. So raise your hand if you're normal. I can kind of see you. I kind of don't see anybody raising their hands, which makes me really happy. I mean, it's Friday night and you're at a Model UN conference. And right? Yes! I mean, you could fully be like in a YouTube rabbit hole at home, or just like so many other things you could be doing, but you're here. And as far as I understand, you're not getting graded on this. I definitely know that you're not getting paid. I know that some of you aren't even you're not in a high school club. Some of you are in college and you've flown here just to sit on a stage and participate in this because you love it. That's not normal. It's really, really fantastic is what it is. Okay. We are not living in normal times by any means. Our national and global politics are not normal at all. None of this is normal. It's totally insane. It's unstable. It's divisive. It's dangerous, to say the very least. And we need not normal people to make it right. Okay? Right? There's a lot of people out there who are pretending that everything is okay and that everything is normal, who are just like acting like everything's all right. And that's something that I am not okay with. And I have a feeling that a lot of people in here feel the same way. I don't assume that everybody in here has the same political ideologies. I definitely know that you don't all see the same solution to the same problems, which is what Ankita was just talking about. But that's the beauty of what's happening here, is that you are here tonight because you care. You care about the world, you care about global politics and communication, you care about like policy and de-escalation and peace. You care about understanding that this insane moment that we're living in changes. You care about doing something. That is everything. You know, I know that you've taken risks to be here. You've probably prepared a lot. Some of you are probably kind of nervous, perhaps. No? Nobody's nervous? Yeah, I'm totally nervous. But you're here, and you have a voice, and you want to use it. And I want you to give yourselves a round of applause for doing that. You are the kind of people we need in the world, and you are really my favorite kind of people. That is, people who care about anything and are willing to do something and take a stand. And I learned to be a person who cares about the world and who uses my voices and my words to make a difference right here in San Jose. I grew up about 15 minutes from here. I went to Buxton Elementary School, and I went to, well, what used to be called Markham, but now it's called Willow Glen Middle School. I went to Willow Glen High School. It's where my dad went, my aunt, my uncle. It's where my grandma taught. My family's been here forever. And, you know, the things that I'm finding success in now in my life, in writing, in activism, in public speaking, and leadership, what I wanted to tell you guys tonight is those are all things that I discovered and really cultivated when I was growing up here. It was when I was in middle school and high school in San Jose that those things really, really took root. In a lot of ways, I like to think I'm a really different person than I was in high school, although I did just go to my high school reunion and everybody's like, you look totally the same, you're just the same. And I was like, I am definitely not the same. But you know, there are many ways in which, again, I've grown and matured and all of that stuff. But there's a lot of things that, again, things I love doing, things I'm passionate about that I really developed right here. It's not because San Jose was like a hotbed of political activism and intellectual rigor, at least not my high school when I was there, not at all. I was not normal at my school. I was very engaged and very active. I was totally that girl who was like sewing patches on her backpack and wearing obnoxious political t-shirts and lecturing everybody about being a vegan. I have changed in that way. I'm still a vegetarian, but I've like really calmed down my rhetoric. But again, and it's because I had a lot of very supportive teachers who really encouraged me and saw that. But I did really come to discover a lot of this when I was here. So I wanted to tell you, that because I think sometimes when you look at your far off future, the person you are when you're in high school seems very unconnected to that. And the work you're doing with Model UN that you do here today, I feel like I can guarantee you that it's absolutely going to impact your future in some way, right? You might not go on to be an ambassador or a crisis negotiator necessarily, but the stuff you're learning, the skills you're cultivating, the relationships you're building, you are definitely going to carry with you. And we have these little moments we look back on in our life that feel like, that's when I realized something. So maybe this is the conference that you're going to look back on when you're running for office someday and be like, that's when I realized that I love doing this. I was going to tell you one kind of adorable little story about one of my moments like that I remember. For me, reading and writing and activism and politics have always been really closely connected. I've always been a really intense reader, but when I was in 6th grade, I spent a lot of time at the library, at the Willow Glen Public Library. Sometimes I played Dungeons and Dragons there. Sometimes I read books. Right? Woo! I had read pretty much everything that was in the teenage section, and I was starting to read the nonfiction books, and I was starting to check out books about the environment and about kind of politics and what I saw as kind of grown-up stuff. And I remember checking out a book about environmental activism and starting to read about climate change and starting to read about the planet and starting to think about these things. And I read in this book about how big corporations like Burger King were clear-cutting rainforest land to make room for cattle. And I was I was so upset. And that night I went to a slumber party. So I'm in 6th grade, okay? Went to a slumber party. There was 6 girls there, and we all get dropped off, and everybody's like, yay, we're gonna watch movies and eat ice cream. And I was like, guys, I have to tell you something. Do you know what Burger King's doing to the rainforests? And they were like, oh no. So I told them, I was so impassioned, and I told them all about what this sacred land that's being destroyed so these cows can eat, so we can eat the cows. That just blew my mind. And so I told them that we were going to have a protest. So this is the story of when I organized my first political protest. So we made up a chant, but I don't totally remember, but it was no rainforest for Whoppers, but it was catchy. And I actually made my friends, I convinced them to march around in a circle in front of my friend's house, in her front lawn, in little quaint Willow Glen, perhaps the first and only protest ever to happen in Willow Glen. And we marched around and chanted for maybe 5 minutes. And then we were done, and we went inside and watched a scary movie. That did not have a big impact. Burger King continued to clear-cut rainforests. I did not change the world, but I did decide to become a vegetarian, which I've stayed that way for the rest of my life. And I remember just having this feeling of I just had something that I felt strongly about. I communicated it to people, and then I led them in something that felt meaningful. And it changed the way that my friends thought. I remember we would not eat Burger King after that. I was like, no, you can't eat Burger King. And I had this feeling of this felt really good. This felt like something I could keep doing. I've since led and been to 1 million marches and protests since then, most of them in the past year. It always has stuck with me as this little moment where I felt like I learned something about standing up for what I believe in, and taking a stance. So my activism has kind of chilled out since then. I'm not just marching around and yelling. I do, kind of more boring policy work, and I also see my books as a particular kind of activism. So I went on in high school. Again, I did a lot of public speaking. I was the head of my environmental club, and again, I had some great teachers who really inspired me and took me seriously, and who also really challenged me. And that's something I deeply appreciate about the teachers I had, that they They saw my interests, and they really pushed me. And I know that teachers like Mr. Phipps is someone, and Mr. Phipps, every time I see him on the holidays, he's always challenging me and pushing me. And it's people like that in my life who've also made a really big impact on me. So I had a wonderful teacher named, I always want to shout out Mr. Kahn and Mr. Martin, who were two of my high school teachers, who really saw my interests and didn't just laugh and say, oh, wow, she thinks she's so political, she thinks she's so smart. But they really challenged me. I remember in a biology class, we were dissecting fetal pigs. And I said that I didn't want to do it. I objected on my vegetarian, vegan, animal rights grounds. And my teacher was like, okay, so here's your assignment. And so instead of just giving me busy work, he assigned me to read the book And the Band Played On, which is a cultural history of the AIDS epidemic. It's a big, thick, heavy book. I knew nothing about it. This is a long time ago, so when the AIDS epidemic, I'm old. So this was kind of when it was really, really happening intensely. And the assignment was to read the entire book and come sit with them once a week at lunch and talk about it. And that has always stuck with me because it's an example of a teacher who, again, he respected my beliefs, but he wasn't going to let me off the hook with something easy. And he was going to push me into thinking about something that I hadn't explored yet. And I read that book, and it totally opened up my mind. And I went and sat with him, and he passed me. It was very nice of him. All right. So the other story of a teacher I wanted to share, though, was through all of this, my activism and stuff in high school, I was also really, really passionate about writing. I wrote for my high school paper, but I also privately wrote a lot of stories and fiction and poetry, but I never shared it with anybody because I never really took it seriously. When I was a junior, we got to do creative writing in class for the first time, and my teacher pulled me aside and said, "You're really good at this." I was like, what? Really? And he said it again. He said, "You're really good at this. Have you thought about majoring in it in college?" And I actually didn't know that that was a thing. I did not know you could major in creative writing. I didn't know that I could really do that. I didn't have an example or a model of, I didn't know anybody who was a writer. And I listened, and I discovered that there was a creative writing major, and I took myself seriously, and I embraced it. And I've always been very grateful for that teacher for seeing me in that moment. I see all of you. I actually technically don't because it's kind of dark out there. So I see most of you in the front half of the room. I see you guys on the stage. When I sit back down, I'm going to try to see everybody else. But what I see is that you're here because you are excited and interested and engaged. And again, you're willing to not be normal, and you're willing to spend your Friday, not just your Friday night. I realize you guys are coming back at 8:30 tomorrow morning. You're here all weekend. Super not normal, super wonderful. All right, so I feel like I should leave you with some really magical wisdom and advice. I don't totally have that, but I will say some words. I think that above everything, above all, is just to really try to figure out and explore what you care about, what you give a whatever about, right? What moves you, what fascinates you, what energizes you, and what infuriates you, right? What makes you feel something. How can you make that a part of your life? How can you address that? How do you make that part of your future? I want you to be able to answer that question, and that it changes over time, right? It's not just one answer, but exploring that and thinking about that, I think, is such an incredibly important part of life. I want you to take risks and to speak up. Again, we're living in some really crazy, not normal times. But it's not all bad, right? Despite he who shall not be named, we're in a time, I'm not naming it, but we're also in a time when culture is shifting. We are seeing women, people of color, young people, immigrants speaking up, right? We are seeing people in power being held accountable. Not all, but some. We are seeing shifts, whether it's the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, so many other movements where previously unlistened to, disenfranchised people are using their voice, and there really are actual shifts in conversation, people being held accountable. So I want to encourage people to continue to speak up and take up space, and to refuse to be normal. Normal does not get you to the top. Normal does not get you into college. Normal does not change the world. doesn't get you rich. Whatever it is that you want, whether it's getting rich or saving the world or somehow magically both, being normal is not going to get you there. So be extra, be bold, and let your badass self and your big dreams and goals be visible. Finally, the women that I get to research and write about fill me with inspiration and confidence on a regular basis. But truly, the other thing that does is young people like you. That's not just, I know that's like something old people always say, but it's really true. My next book is about young women throughout history and today who've done really great things before age 20. So I spent the past year researching historical girls and also interviewing a ton of contemporary young activists and scientists and leaders and thinkers. To me, there is nothing more exciting than the hope and vision and passion of the people who are waiting in the wings to take over this hot mess that we're living in. You are the antidote to fake news. You're the antidote to roomfuls of ancient white senators passing out-of-touch legislation. You are literally the future, and I wish this was the real UN. Have a great weekend. And good luck. I hope you win all the awards or not. As Ankita said, that is not what's important. So have a really great time and change the world. Thanks.
I want to thank Ms. Schatz for that incredibly inspiring speech, and to thank her, we have a token of gratification. We got you a gavel. It is. Yes, we want to give this to you. Yeah.
I was just admiring their gavel. I was like legit so excited about the gavel. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. All right. In the talk of activism and putting your voice out into the world, I want to tell you about the charity that we are going to be donating a lot of money to. So this year, SCVMUN is proud to support CARE, an organization that is a global leader within the worldwide movement to end worldwide poverty. It's working within 94 countries, reaching over 80 million people through nearly 1,000 projects. CARE has magnified their focus on providing women and girls with health, education, and empowerment to transform entire communities. Through long-term campaigns and crisis relief efforts, CARE has been able to reflect their core values of transformation, integrity, diversity, equality, and excellence beyond their initial campaign, focused on sending care packages to survivors of World War II in 1945. They have continued with their initial projects and have expanded to continue their commitment to provide dignity to every single person in the global community. So in committee, there will be envelopes where you can donate, and I really hope that you do. Now, I'd like to introduce you to my Director General, Katie Baker, who will be introducing you to the people who have dedicated their time and effort to our conference, your wonderful chairs.
Hello, everyone. Over the past year, I've had the honor of working with this incredible directing staff to bring this conference to you today. Before I let them introduce themselves, I just have some quick reminders. First, the Delegate Print Center is in room 302. On Saturday morning, there will also be pastries and coffee for sale in there. There'll be a head delegate meeting 8 a.m. tomorrow morning before committee. Committee starts at 8:30. Please be on time. And then there'll be a faculty advisor meeting 9:30 in the faculty lounge, which is room 322. The future director meeting will be at 1 and not at 12:40, which is printed on the program, but it will still be in room 218. So just right after committee on Saturday, if you're interested in being a director for SCVMUN next year, go to room 218. Lastly, for lunch, we will have food trucks again. They'll be located right behind the NPR towards that parking lot back there. And then this year, closing will be in the gym. and it'll be able to accommodate everyone. The gym's over there, and you can ask anyone of your directors or anyone at SD where it is. Sure, you'll be able to find it. And Kita and I will be filtering through committees. Please feel free to come up to us if you have any problems or any questions. Now, the directors will introduce themselves and their respective committees. We will start over here. You can submit too.
Hi, my name is Pardis. I will be co-chairing Security Council. My head chair is actually Julian, and he's on a plane right now, flying over from Chicago. So he will be joining us later this evening. Security Council is my first committee as a delegate, and now it's the first committee I'll be chairing. So I'm very excited to see all the great ideas that you will be bringing to our committee.
Hello, my name is Stosh Banach, and I'm returning as the director of the Historical Security Council. I am a graduate of Berkeley with a degree in history, and my co-chair is Sachet Shroff, who can stand up for a sec or wave his hand. And he's a sophomore at Berkeley, majoring in computer science, and I'm very much looking forward to leading debate with you guys.
Hi, my name is Anna Singh. I'm the head director for NATO, and I'm lucky enough to co-chair with the amazing Sam and Natasha. There they are.
Hi, my name is Spencer Phillips. I'm going to be head directing the World Bank Committee. We're going to be going through protectionism and the funding of education. I'm going to be working with my co-director, Alex Liu. He's a second year at Berkeley, studying computer science and business.
Hi, I'm Emily Moncada. I'm the head chair for UNHCR. The co-chair will be Revati Reshinkar. We're both undergraduates. I am an undergraduate at UC Davis, and she's an undergraduate at UC San Diego. And we're really excited to meet all of you.
Hi everyone, I am Madeline Valdez. I will be directing EcoSoc this conference. I go to UC Berkeley and I'm a sophomore there, and my lovely and accomplished co-chair, Kunal, will also be directing alongside of me. He is really accomplished. He also graduated from UC Berkeley and is currently a technical consultant at Google. Later on, we'll be joined by Brittany Lopez.
Hi, I'm Tanvi Desai. I'm going to be directing IAEA along with Tara. She's a freshman at UC Berkeley, and I'm a sophomore also at UC Berkeley.
Hey everybody, my name is Aaron Lake. I'm a recent graduate from UC Santa Cruz. Go Slugs! Yeah, we're weird. I'm going to be the head chair for Dissect this year, which is definitely the best committee. No offense to the other committees. And Charlotte Swenson will be helping me. We're going to be doing this together, and we're going to have a great time, so be prepared.
Well, let me correct him. The best committee will be the WHO. My name is Nora Lee. I just graduated from medical school last year. I'm currently working at Stanford. I'll be joined by my co-director, Zoe. She's on her flight from LA, so we'll meet her there.
Hi, my name is Emily Bishko. I am a sophomore at Stanford. I study international relations, and I'm really excited to direct the UNEP along with my co-chairs, Eli and Keenan.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Geis. I'm the head chair of UNDP. My co-chairs is Jasmine Elas and Michelle Orozco, and they are both on their way, so we're going to have a fun time, guys. We are discussing China seas tensions as well as Venezuelan stabilization.
Hi, everybody. My name is Trent Gomberg. I will be chairing the 6th Legal Committee with my co-chair, Chaya Ranakash. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yannick Omicton. I went to Homestead High School. Homestead? Okay. That was awkward. I currently am a freshman at George Washington University in DC. I study international relations and geography. I'm joined by the amazing Samina Nong. She's a sophomore at UC Berkeley studying political science. This is UNESCO. We're going to be talking about ocean preservation and the safety and protection of journalists. So we're going to have a frickin' fun time. Please get excited.
What's up, guys? My name is Ash Bott. I am your crisis director. My job is to create havoc in your committees. The first crisis we have is the head director of SCVMUN is running a bit late. So the first, I guess, identity I'll play is Brendan Lake. My name is Brendan Lake. I go to UC Santa Cruz, and I will be your head director for SCVMUN. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So please give a round of applause for all of your directors. And now I will begin roll call. Please respond with either present or present and voting. All right, Albania. Okay. Please speak loud. Algeria. Australia. Belgium. Bolivia. Canada. Chile. China. Awesome. Colombia. Croatia. Cuba. Czech Republic. Denmark. Egypt. Ethiopia. France. Germany. Greece. Iceland. Awesome. India. Indonesia. Iran. Iraq. Ireland. Israel. Okay. Italy. Japan. Jordan. Awesome. Kenya. Lithuania. Luxembourg. Malaysia. Myanmar. The Netherlands. New Zealand. Norway. Pakistan. Peru. Awesome. Poland. Romania. Russia. Saudi Arabia. Senegal. South Africa. South Korea. South Sudan. Spain. Sudan. Sweden. Switzerland. Thailand. Turkey. Awesome. UAE. UK. Ukraine, USA, Vietnam. Seeing that you are all here, are there any points or motions on the floor? Oh God, I can't read any of these. Is Belgium. All right, Belgium. That motion is in order. All those in favor? All those opposed? I will officially call into order Santa Clara Valley Model United Nations Conference 47. Before you leave, please wait like 3 minutes so we can get our directors outside, but the conference is officially open. So just everybody wait here for 3 minutes. Thank you. Thank you.
You guys can contact whoever's supposed to come in. This is my co-chair.